Hey, Carson Bible Church. It is Friday and it's time for an update, and unfortunately this week I have some disappointing news for all of us. This week our state regulations for in-person worship services have changed. The regulation has changed to where churches must discontinue singing in their in-person worship services. And I don't know, I find that to be a little bit ridiculous at this point. We are already complying with a number of protocols for everybody's health and safety. We're already distancing, we're wearing face coverings, and when we have all of those things put in place, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense that singing would increase anybody's risk that significantly. But our position at Carson Bible Church has always been to be compliant rather than to be defiant. And so we are going to continue on that course of compliance. At the same time, we have also always told you that there are certain lines that may be crossed that would potentially cause us to change position and move towards defiance. And this may not exactly be one of those lines, but it sure does seem to be getting close. But we want to be compliant. We believe that this will be a temporary measure, and so we are going to have to find some ways around that. Different churches are finding different ways to deal with these changes, and we are having to be creative in some aspects. For Carson Bible Church, this weekend at least, for July 5th, we will go back to suspending our in-person services. One of the reasons is that we really believe that the Bible encourages and actually mandates that singing is a part of our worship to God. And so I just really didn't feel comfortable asking the congregation to come to church and have us not sing together. We really believe that the Bible tells us that we have a great God who is worth singing about, and we have a great salvation that is worth singing about. And the gospel really is good news that's worth singing about. And so if we can't sing together, then we would like to be in a place where we can sing. And for right now, that is going to mean home. Our midweek prayer meeting on Wednesdays at 5:30 will still be in person. That will be in the fellowship hall, so that hasn't changed. As far as our Sunday morning worship services, for right now, we will just be on a week-to-week basis. This week, we, as I said, will suspend our in-person service. For the following weekend, we will let you know. It is disappointing, and I would just say, praise God for the last 4 weeks that we've been able to meet together and worship God together in person. It's been a great blessing to me, and I believe it's been a great blessing to you as well. And also just remember, the church isn't going anywhere. Christ is still head of the church. God is still sovereign. The church has weathered other storms before, and as a congregation at Carson Bible Church, we've proven that we are resilient enough to suspend in-person services and then resume in-person services later, and we trust that we can do that again, and we can just keep right on going. If I could help illustrate it for you a little bit, for us living here in Southern California, if you take a look around at the trees that we have here in Southern California, we have maybe only a handful of different types of trees that we have here in abundance in Southern California. You might notice eucalyptus trees. Eucalyptus trees grow very tall. They grow pretty quickly. They propagate quite easily, and they're pretty impressive. But one of the problems is that they make a mess, for one, and two, their roots are quite shallow for a tree as tall as they are. And so we don't want to be a church that is like a eucalyptus tree, because in good conditions, the eucalyptus tree grows really well, grows fast, grows tall, looks impressive, but it doesn't take that powerful of a storm to knock a eucalyptus tree down. Once the soil gets wet, and if there's strong winds, the eucalyptus tree will fall quite easily. So we do not want to be a eucalyptus tree. On the other hand, we also see palm trees. Palm trees don't have very deep roots either. Their roots are quite shallow, but one important thing about the palm tree is that it's flexible. Palm tree grows tall, and it's bendy. Palm tree is flexible, and the palm tree can weather even the severest of hurricanes because it is flexible and because it can bounce back. And even though its roots may not be super deep, it still doesn't give up any ground. Its roots don't let loose even in wet soil because the tree itself is so flexible. And so as a church, we want to be like the palm tree. We want to be flexible, and we want to weather the storm without giving up any grounds on the foundation upon which our roots are planted. One day, Christ's kingdom will come in like an oak tree. Christ's kingdom has been planted and has been growing very slowly over the centuries. And one day he will bring in his kingdom very visibly and very physically, and like an oak tree with deep, strong roots, a strong trunk, and very strong branches. The kingdom of Christ will weather any storm, even in its inflexibility, because it is unassailable, because it is strong, because Christ is her king. And so in this time, we want to be a church that is flexible and can weather storms, not by giving up ground, but by being able to be flexible as we look to the coming kingdom, which will be inflexible and strong to stand against any storm that may come. Now, that said, I know that some of you will disagree with our decision to suspend in-person services, and it is true that there's a possibility that I'm making the wrong decision, but I am asking you to trust me, to trust our elders as we trust Christ. I'm asking you to trust Christ as well. The church still belongs to Christ. It is Christ who gave up his life for her. God is still sovereign in all of these situations and circumstances, so our faith is in him and not in anything else. If you're upset about this, as I am, here's what we're going to do. Here's the plan. We can't sing in person in our church, so we're going to sing at home. Carson Bible Church has been posting videos of our hymns for the last 4 months. So there are quite a few hymns that are on our YouTube channel available for you to view and sing along to. One thing is that when we are gathered here in our church, in our sanctuary, the world doesn't hear us sing. We are basically in a closed building, and it is very edifying to us for us to sing together, and we do believe that it is honoring to God, but the world doesn't hear us. And so this weekend, we're going to use this as an opportunity. We are going to make the most of this opportunity. So at home, at church time on Sunday, we're going to throw open all the windows in our house, and whatever device or screen you will be watching our worship music on and our sermon on, we're going to turn the volume all the way up, and we are going to sing at home where we're allowed to. And we're going to sing as loud as we can. And on most Sundays, the world doesn't hear us. But this Sunday, they're going to hear us. Your neighbors will hear you. Everyone around you will hear you. This Sunday, the world will hear us sing. God bless.